All right, welcome back. We are on to part 2 of the shop build. In the last video we did the concrete, and let me show you what we got right now. First of all this rock out here is new. This is going to be the front area of the shop, and we've taken this rock and made a sort of a driveway here and connected it to the rest of the rock out in front of the house on the old shop over there. So the new drive area here is nice and wide. We have a lot of room to drive vehicles and tractors back and forth. And we do have a nice big area out here in front of the shop as well, as I showed you. Do have a bit of an elevation change now from down here up to the edge of the shop. On this end, the concrete slab was poured 7 inches above grade. So we probably got a solid 12 plus inches in elevation change now from the shop to where I'm standing. Which is all good because we don't have any danger of flooding should we get a massive rainstorm or something like that. You can see the elevation of the shop is quite a bit higher than the rest. As far as the slab itself goes, I paid for 6 inches of concrete with reinforced fiber, and we ended up with 7 inches, a solid 7 inches all the way around, so that's even better. Now I don't know how this is going to translate on the video, but when I stand on the slab here and just look out over the whole thing, this is really quite a large area. Quite a big space. It's 4,000 square feet. It's 80 feet that way, 50 feet on the ends. Now also, if you remember from the last video, I said that we're not going to build this out of red iron steel. We're going to build this out of cold form steel for a couple different reasons, but the biggest reason is cheaper than the red iron. And I just do not need all that strength of a red iron building. This is going to be perfectly fine. But let's take a closer look at this cold form stuff and see exactly how thick it is. It's measuring out to be 115 to 120 thousandths thick, which translates, I believe, to 11 gauge steel, which is plenty thick. It's actually thicker than I thought it was going to be, so that's good. But the reason they call this stuff cold form steel is because this 11 gauge galvanized steel, I think, was originally in the form of a sheet, and they used their fancy machines to bend it without heat. So by bending them in this fashion, for example, in 2 places here and here, you're creating strength. You're adding support to the piece. It's no longer just a flat piece of steel. It's now got some structure. Same thing on the other side. You can see right here there's a spacer in between the 2 galvanized pieces, roughly 1/4 inch plate steel in there, and these aren't tightened down yet. They're probably going to wait till they get them vertical and get them in place before they cinch everything down, I would imagine. These are the fasteners that are going to run down into the concrete to anchor the vertical supports. And there's a whole bunch of these. So today is Sunday, and they're supposed to be back out tomorrow, weather permitting. We've had a rainstorm come through just the last couple days, and we're not sure if it's going to rain tomorrow or not. Okay, here we are after the first day of putting the building up. This is how far they got today. They've got a lot of the pieces cut, and they've got a lot of the pieces laid out on the ground and staged and ready to be put up. And of course over there they've got 4 of the vertical supports up. Let's go take a closer look at those. I want to show you how this cold form steel looks when it's put up and together. Each one of these things here are pretty darn strong, and you can see they've got them bolted back to back to basically create a massive I-beam. They're very strong when they're put together like that, back to back. And they are also pretty tall. You know, that's 16 feet. That's the full vertical length of the sides of the building. But there's something about them. I don't know if it's the perspective or because nothing's on the top, but they look longer than that. They look really tall. Now the guys would have made more progress on the building today, but we ran into a little bit of a hiccup this morning that was kind of scary at first. So again, the building's going to be 50 feet wide, and these big I-beams that they've created, just like the vertical supports, go across the top. That's where the roof is going to be. Well, the guys laid them out on the concrete this morning, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a blue chalk line right there. That's where the edge of the vertical I-beams are going to go on this side. Well, when they laid it out this morning, this thing was 8 inches inside the blue chalk line. So we're not talking about a small discrepancy. It only came to about here. So the construction crew was kind of shaking their heads, and the boss man called me over and told me what was going on. I was staring at it, shaking my head and thinking, what in the world could be wrong? At face value, it seemed like they'd cut these big ceiling supports too short. Seemed like they needed to be 4 inches long on each one. And then they got to looking a little bit more closely, and these cross support pieces right here, there are pre-drilled holes in the I-beam right here, you can see, and those holes did not line up with the cross pieces. So we measured those big pieces just to make sure they were cut at the right length, and they were the exact length according to the plans. So were these cross pieces, but the holes weren't lining up, and the ceiling was 8 inches too narrow, if you will. Wasn't wide enough. Well, after some phone calls and figuring things out, they learned that those steel plate brackets in the middle there were not the right brackets for this building. There's a pile of them over here I want to show you. So these are the ones I'm talking about here. So what happened was all the pieces were correct for this building except for those plates. They mistakenly shipped out a pallet of those plates that were meant for a building in Alaska, because the owner of the company said they had 2 pallets sitting side by side. One pallet was ours for our building, and the other pallet was for the building up in Alaska. The problem was that the roof pitch was different for the building in Alaska versus my building. I'll show you a diagram here. The building in Alaska was going to have a steeper pitch to it, and ours was going to be a lesser pitch. So when we have our building with those brackets, it created a higher point in the center, which caused the outer edges of those beams to be not wide enough. And as soon as we got the right plates delivered, they got one installed just to check it. It corrected the pitch, and by default, it kicked the edges of the ceiling I-beams out another 4 inches. And once they made that change, all the other holes lined up as well. So the guys lost about 3 hours of working time first thing in the morning, because the other brackets were about 35 minutes away at the steel place. So it took a while to figure it out in the first place, and the owner was nice enough to drive out here and deliver them for us. But by then it had already been 2 or 3 hours plus his 35-minute drive out to deliver them. Anyway, that was our excitement for this morning, and now we're green light, full speed ahead again. So I'll check back in with you in just a second, which will be tomorrow, and we'll see how far they get tomorrow. Amy, say hi. Hi, Amy. Today is Tuesday, and it's only day 2 of the shop build, but the guys really got a lot of work done today. Looks like they've got all of the vertical supports up except for the one on the front there. I'm not sure if that's the same as the rest or not. The one on the front corner there, same with this corner. That one's empty, but they got the rest of these installed and anchored and partially connected to each other. In addition to those cross supports right there, they're going to put some metal strapping. I don't think it goes in every single bay, but I know there's a lot of it. If you look up at that top corner, you can see what I was talking about yesterday. Now everything fits right because they got the correct brackets up there. Here's the next ceiling rafter assembly. Looks like they've got it put together, just ready to go up. Judging by how fast these guys work today, I wouldn't be surprised if they had all the ceiling rafters mounted by the end of tomorrow, but we'll see. Today the guys had 2 scissor lifts, one there and another blue one over there. And then in addition to that, they have that detachable bucket that fits onto the forks of the telehandler. So for a while they had all 3 of these things up in the air with the guys working on stuff up high. I learned something today when I was talking to the boss man of the construction crew. He said oftentimes on the red iron buildings, the vertical supports are tapered. Now I can't remember which way he said they went, but they weren't straight up and down like these are. I keep looking at these manufactured I-beams and I am just blown away by how strong these things are and how strong this whole building is going to be when it's all connected. The cross pieces and the strapping and then the siding and the roof. This thing is going to be extremely strong. We didn't have any hiccups today at all, so it was full speed ahead for the guys. They showed up again at around 5:30 a.m. So we'll sign off for Tuesday, and I'll see you guys in a couple seconds, and we'll see what they get done on Wednesday. So I'd say this is pretty impressive for only 4 days of work. Started putting the strapping stuff up too. It's interesting, in the plans they called for the strapping like this on the sides in big X's, but not in every bay. Right now they've got it in 3 bays on this side and 3 bays on that side as well, and then they also have it in 2 bays going across the top of the roof. So it looks like they have more of that stuff to do. The boss man also told me they're going to run strapping from the cross supports across the I-beams tightly and then re-anchor them into the cross supports on the other side. I don't know if that's going to be every single I-beam and or every single cross support, but they have more of that strapping yet to install. There's a big piece laid out on the ground right there, and I can see from here there's still, I think, another roll or 2 over there in that pile. There's a bunch of 2x4s over there and some more 2x4s over here. All this material was stacked up on kind of homemade pallets, and that's what's left of the wood. Since I'm the one that paid for all this stuff, I should have first dibs at the scraps, right? I'm going to see if I can keep all these 2x4s. They're kind of junky 2x4s, but they're good tools sometimes for mechanic type work. You can build things out of them or simply use them for blocks or wheel chocks. And then this pile here is mostly this stuff. This is scrap metal, you know, that they trimmed off and don't need. And this is actually some pretty thick metal. I'm gonna see if I can snag a bunch of these as well, because these would be nice to keep around for welding projects and scrap metal, and you know, making plates or brackets or whatever. There's a lot of this good metal here. Come over here. See, there's still 2 big rolls of that strapping material that they haven't even opened yet. So I think they've got a lot more of that yet to do. But besides that, there's not much material left as far as the actual building goes. I think they've got, you know, 99% of the building done. Anyway, Amy and I are going to sign off for this video. See you guys next time.